Hello, my name is Jan Mattes. I'm Area Product Owner for Campaign Management in Hybris Marketing Cloud. And I'm now going to give you an overview about our 17.05 release, which we plan to ship in May 2017. So with 17.05, we will finalize our work on the new campaign UI. Our multi-channel flow-based campaign designer will replace the old campaign UI completely, also for paid search and Google and Facebook campaigns. We will support more functionality around periodic campaigns with follow-up actions. We will overhaul our UI for marketing permissions and also increase capabilities in terms of communication categories, how to extend open channel with inbound tracking, and finally also the segmentation and target group customizing will be enhanced in the cloud. Let me go into the system to show you how powerful Hybris marketing segmentation and campaign execution is and why it's so superior compared to the competition. So first of all, what you see here is a simple segmentation. My aim is I want to invite all customers which have a high buying propensity probability for a certain product to a special event, and there will be multiple events around the world. And that's what I did here is basically to have a segmentation of my 3 million customers, and I only want to look at the customers which had an interaction within the last 90 days. And to ensure that I don't invite people around London to the event in Germany, I have two subsegments here. One is a geo-segmentation for customers in London, and the other is for customers in south of Germany. Besides that, I will then also filter for customers which have a high buying propensity for a certain product. And the last step in my segmentation is basically to filter the customers which have a high open and click rate of their emails. And that is basically what we can then use as a score to determine the email affinity for those customers. So if they have a high email affinity, I will contact them via email. Then I want to contact all customers which had a high purchase within the last few days directly by phone. It's very effective on the one hand, but also expensive. That's why I want to make sure that I only have really the right customers to receive that phone call. And the remaining customers, they shall be getting a postcard, and that will be done via the letter shop and executed by the letter shop. Let me maybe show you how simple it is to do a geo-segmentation with Hybris Marketing, just to give you a feeling how that works. You see here, I go into the geo-segmentation, and what you see depicted here is really the map of the whole world, and you see by those clusters how many customers we have in each area and in each region, and I can zoom in. And if I now want to create a target group, let's say for customers 100 kilometers around New York, I simply type in here New York, and then I enter here the radius, let's say 100 kilometers, and then I add the radius, and you can then zoom in here easily and see how many customers I will have in that area, and then simply need to keep them, and that's basically it. So you see I have 4 customers here around New York, and of course I can also create more complex polygons. If you look here, that's the polygon I drawn for fetching all customers in south of Germany, and yeah, it can be really very, very flexible. So that's for the geo-segmentation, but the more challenging part is, of course, which of the customers are the ones which have a high buying propensity for a certain product. How can I do that? Well, again, as Hybris Marketing has predictive capabilities built in, it's not so complicated. What we do here is I select the attribute for buying propensity, and we have rather multiple models here in the system applied, and one of those models is to identify customers for a certain camera product. And what I then get depicted for all the 300,000 customers of that segment is a so-called gain chart. And that gain chart depicts easily how many customers I need to contact to fetch only the ones which have a high buying propensity. And what you see here on the x-axis, I can move here, let's say, that arrow to the left, and then I see that I only need to reach or contact 5% of my 300,000 customers to achieve already the 70% of those which have a high buying probability for that product. So this is also very, very simple. So you can easily optimize a very large target group and boil it down to the customers which really are close to buy a new product. So again, I keep that, and then I have a new segmentation here. You see, that's my new branch here in my segmentation. So the last step is then to filter out the contacts for the right channel. So some customers, like that one here, I want to contact via phone because they had a high purchase. So you can, of course, track all interactions and also all buying interactions and calculate the total amount of those buying interactions. And then you say, okay, these are the customers which on the one hand have a high buying propensity for buying a new product, but they also bought already a high volume in our shops. And that's why I want to give them a phone call. Whereas customers which have, let's say, a high email affinity, they shall be contacted via a rather cheaper channel, and that's the email probably. And to make sure that you really reach the right customers, you can use then our score functionality and predictive capabilities to sort out the ones which usually open their email or click their emails. And again, it is very, very simple. You see such a chart here depicted for all the 16,000 customers I have here. I see how their behavior is, how many have a score in which area. And I, again, mark that to keep only the customers which have a score higher than 40, and then I add this here as a segment, and that's basically it. So much for the segmentation. Last step for segmentation is you need to decide which is really your target groups you want to create. So you click here on that little arrow, and then you create target group. And then you need to decide, is it a dynamic target group which shall be automatically updated on each campaign execution, or is it just a filter element within the campaign automation? And if this is the case, then you would be marking that as a so-called live target group, and that makes it available for the routing within a campaign automation. So then let me show to you a campaign which I have been preparing already for you. It's basically the same story that I just explained. First of all, the overall header of the campaign. You see this is an automated campaign, and I flagged that automated campaign to be executed every day. So there will be a daily execution. You could also have, let's say, weeks or months or years. And the first execution shall happen immediately. Then I added here the basic target group. That's all 16,000 customers which have a high buying propensity for that product. And finally, I added also a communication category. So all people which subscribe for the camera newsletter or for the interest for cameras, they shall be contacted. All others shall be excluded automatically. So this is part of our permission marketing module that you have here. So this is, of course, not mandatory. It's optional. So you can control here, even in the campaign, what contacts to be contacted. So then the first action in my campaign automation will be sending out an email. And you remember, I want to send people around London a different email than people in the south of Germany. So I have two actions here. First action is contact customers around London. And I selected the email template here. You see a preview underneath. And I picked from the segmentation the so-called live target group, which then filters me only the contacts we have around London. And that's basically making sure that from the 16,000, only the people around London will receive that mail. I did the very same for Germany as well, for south of Germany here. And again, a different email template. And then the filter rule, which makes sure only the people in Switzerland, Austria, and south of Germany will be contacted. Follow-up steps for both actions are the same. So if someone clicked here on the women link, then I will send them a follow-up email which has then information about women clothing. Action number 3 is to have the phone call. Again, it's a live target group which filters only the people which had a high buying amount in the last few weeks. And those will be created a phone call activity in Cloud for Customer. So that will be directly transferred to the sales rep and to call center people which use the CRM system Cloud for Customer. And the last step is then basically all other contacts which I did not send an email or which did not receive the phone call. They shall be getting a postcard, and that will be sent out by a letter shop, and I will transmit the people via an export file, a simple CSV file, to the letter shop every day. And that's what I did here. Again, I have a filter rule for fetching all contacts not being approached by mail or phone. And then I have defined what is the data format, what columns I want to send to the letter shop. And then I defined also that the new file shall be created every day to make sure that the letter shop doesn't receive the same people multiple times. So that's basically it. I click on Done with the campaign designer, and everything looks fine. So my last step is then to release the campaign. I click here on Release. And now our execution is about to start. And as this is a periodic campaign, it will automatically be repeated every day. And that means basically now the first execution starts, and tomorrow, same time, the campaign will automatically start again and fetch only the customers which are new. So it will not contact the same person twice, because I defined my target group in a way that I can really filter out contacts which are only new. And the target group will remain the same. It is a dynamic target group, but so you don't need to do anything anymore. It's really a full automation for all recurrencies of your campaign. So let me now view the log here just to see what happens. So this is the log basically, and you see that the first action started for London and south of Germany emails. And if I now close, you will then also see how this changes over time, because all other actions are also currently being executed. So in the meantime, the first emails dropped in. Let me open the mail to create some traffic here. So this is the mail I've been just sending out. It's the fashion event invitation for Jan Mattes. Industry is unknown. It's a personalization attribute. And if I click here, let's say, on that link, then the follow-up action will also be triggered. So I click on women link. And you could also see, by the way, that if there would be an interaction which happened in the past, could also be displayed as part of the email personalization. So as you can see here also in the flow, we see the success data. So one email has been delivered here. Let me zoom in a bit. You can see that more easily. So one email has been delivered, and also at that point of time I did not yet click, so there was a click so far. Let me refresh here to see if it's updated already. Yeah, now the picture is different. So we see that someone clicked on the women link, and that's why also the follow-up email has been sent. So let's go into the Success tab. And these are basically the numbers that we have here. So we have an amount of unopened messages. We see how many emails have been delivered. And we also see the number of clicks. And it's only the click here on the women link that happened so far. So that was everything I wanted to show regarding the campaign automation. Just to give you a bit of understanding what worked under the hood. This is the view on one of the contacts I've been contacting. It's Jan Mattes, it's my own profile. And you see here on the permissions tab for that contact what marketing permissions he has been giving and if it's an implicit or an explicit permission. So this is an example of user explicitly gave the opt-in, and this is an important information to comply with the different legal rules we have in the EU and the United States. And you also see here the subscriptions of that person. You see that's the camera newsletter, and that's basically the reason why I received that email. So I hope you liked what you have seen and you recognize that Hybris Marketing is the most powerful end-to-end segmentation and campaign execution engine. It supports predictive and allows not only predictive segmentation, but also to control the flow of each of your campaigns and the automation of your campaigns with those predictive scores and buying propensities. And I hope you liked what you have seen, and stay tuned to see more in the future. Bye-bye.